tavern doors you stroll in, from the wet and from the cold. Grab a friend and grab a chair, raise your mugs into the air. Warm your hearts with golden ale, stomp your boots in time with me. Sing along, the tune is fair, pitch right in and tell your tale. Through the tavern doors you stroll in, from wet and from the cold. Candles flicker on the beam, smoke and laughter thread between. Grab a friend and grab a chair, raise your mugs into the air. Fiddles scrape a merry line, tankards thud in steady time. The fire is stoked, the table's clean, the girls are nice but quick and keen. Travelers shake off road and rain, lean in close and call your name. Warm your hearts with golden ale, stomp your boots and raise a hail. Grab a book or find a bard, telling tales is not that hard. Sing along, the tune is clear, pitch right in so all can hear. Sing along, the tune is clear, pitch right in so all can hear.
There we are.
We are.
Hey there.
Welcome
How are you,
to
Monarch?
Books and Bards. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Do we have a?
Awesome.
Did we
Well-
decide last week that you were going to start off with an intro text?
I think so.
Should have taken notes.
Possibly. Or I'll let you do it. That's fine.
Oh no, not me.
Go ahead.
I don't even know what I would say. I'd be like,
That's all right.
welcome to Books and Bards.
Yes. This is Books and Bards.
Mm.
And this week, it's actually movies that move us.
Oh, I might have heard about that. Treasure Planet or
Maybe.
something, right?
It is. It's Treasure Planet.
Yes.
So, what we've done is we've taken unforgettable lines and we've transformed them and given them new lives. We take inspiration from well-known movies this week and turn them into poetry prompts. We invite poets of all ages and abilities to see where the ideas lead. And then we explore how single lines viewed through different lenses of experience can produce a variety of meter, metaphor, and meaning. And then we try to figure out how simple quotes from the screen can unfold into poems all their own.
And not necessarily following the storyline necessarily of the movie. And
No, not necessarily.
tonight we've got at least one that took a little bit of a dark turn, huh?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, we did.
You know I like my dark turns.
Dark turns can be very fun and very interesting.
So what were the prompts this week? You want to go through those?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Here we go. From the movie Treasure Planet. You got the makings of greatness in you. You do, JoJo. You really do.
Oh.
Number 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, greatness is great, but you do give up a few things chasing a dream.
You do. You do.
Yeah.
You given up anything recently, JoJo?
Oh, yeah. I mean, number 2 kind of describes a fair bit of my career ambitions, I think,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've given up a little bit of my sanity. And a mind is a terrible thing to lose.
I've heard that. Fortunately, I've still got mine slightly intact, so it's not completely lost. But I only had 2 kids, so
Yeah, I've got 4. They take quite a bit out of you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
All
And the
right, quote
fourth
number 4.
Yes.
Yes.
Go for it.
How can the world want me to change? They're the ones who stay the same.
Ooh. Yeah, I've kind of felt like where I grew up, it felt to me like a lot of the people I grew up with were, were not exactly all that change seeking. And I mean, I must have gone to high school with probably 30% of my class who, would like never leave the county or the state, just very content with, I mean, they, to be fair, I grew up in some really nice area of California. But I felt like a lot of the people I grew up with were pretty resistant to change. And, so 4 kind of resonates a bit with me.
Yeah. I feel like we talked about that last week. Didn't we talk about that last week?
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
I was always more of a, take the helm and chart your own course kind of person.
absolutely. 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 And I'm pretty sure we can expect some awesome poetry on that one.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. But you know what? I hope I'm there. Some of the light coming off of you that day.
There you go. I'll try to reflect. As much light as I can.
Oh, I appreciate that. I greatly appreciate that.
Jody's
all
here.
Right.
I didn't see Jody come in. Oh, Pam can actually see people when they come in, even if they don't say anything. So.
Well, speaking of people coming in, JoJo, I'm pretty sure last week we had a poet who was ready to call into our show, and we completely missed the opportunity to have her call in.
Oh, yeah. Who was that? I think that was Victoria, huh?
It was. She had such a beautiful poem. It was great.
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, I loved it. And we
Do
missed
you
the opportunity.
Do you think she would call in tonight and talk to us about it?
Oh my God. There she is.
Hello.
There she is. Hey, Victoria.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Oh, yay, you're here.
I made it.
Yes. Thank you for coming back after being so mistreated last week.
Well, I'm a middle child, so I guess mistreatment is just part of the job.
Fair.
Yeah.
And I'm the oldest in my I have 3 younger brothers, so I'm pretty good at mistreating the middle children. So
perfect. It
there
also
it is.
says why you live in perpetual shame
yeah.
Of that mistreatment. So you hold that real well.
Yeah, I'm
Well-
beginning to think some of my relationship with my brothers might actually have something to do with me.
Well, unfortunately, Victoria, you're sort of stuck. I'm also the oldest.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
We're gonna pick
I
on
just
you.
happen to be the oldest of 10.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So Monarch's got a lot more experience picking on a lot more middle children than me. So.
Oh no. The worst thing is I only have one older sibling and one younger sibling. So all right, I'm ready for this. Let's do it.
All right. Well, I promise
Hopefully all in fun though.
Of course, always.
I promise I won't pick on you too mercilessly. I can't speak for Monarch, even though I do like to. But
well,
your mileage
try
may
to be
vary
nice.
with Monarch. She'll play bad cop. She'll play bad cop, and I'll play not so bad cop.
Love it. That's my favorite game.
Nice. So last week you hung around until almost the end, and we got close to the end, and I thought, oh, I should move Victoria up, and then I was like, well, she's been here though this whole time, and we're definitely going to get through all the poems by the end. So I won't muck up the run sheet, and then next thing I look and it's like, oh, by Victoria? What? No. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Really, if we're going to blame anything, we will have to blame children, because I also have 2 children, and my youngest is a Velcro baby. So if anything, it's really her fault. So it's neither the oldest or the middle. It's very obviously the youngest's fault, as it always is.
I am all for blaming
Always.
the children. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's blame the innocent 1-year-old who can't do anything about it.
Hey, they're not innocent.
He's 7, so.
Oh, what a great
I
age.
think he heard that.
Oh yeah, I think so. I hear a baby.
I heard that. Oops.
All the babies here
Sorry,
all the
baby.
time. That's their job.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Actually,
So
I kind of miss the 1-year-old more than I miss the 1-year-olds more than I miss the 7-year-olds.
yeah.
I can
Well.
feel that.
Well, actually, Monarch, since we've got Victoria here, I kind of want to do something. Maybe, what if we back up to last week and have Victoria read her poem?
That sounds like a brilliant idea.
You think? Because
Yeah.
I just posted a link into the Late Night Poets chat, and the poem is called "The Proof is in the Pointed Finger" by Victoria Frost. What do you think, Victoria? Do you care to have a go at it? Because we heard it last week in, was it My Voice, I think? But
Well, I would be happy to. So this is "The Proof is in the Pointed Finger" by Victoria Frost. How these dogs bark, nipping at peeled heels, yelping at shadows, mocking their imaginations. Yet I find I am the one muzzled, silenced in a witch's bridle, so even God cannot hear my plea as they count my moles. 1, 2, 3. Regaled with myths, dancing naked with the devil, persecuted, they point their fingers, a parish of righteous people. Mere children overcome with hysteria, throwing a public temper tantrum with me as the target for their weapon of words. No physical proof for their affliction, yet they poke, they pick, they pinch. Throwing suspicion as stones, a lashing to prove guilt, pain to persuade the truth, extracting cohorts in crime. What sorrows must God feel for such evil done in his name? Yet he knows my innocence, and I feel him cry as I hang. End poem.
nah, nice, and it's really nice to hear it in your voice. You read it so well.
Indeed.
Wow.
Thank you.
Monarch, I seem to remember we kind of liked this poem last week, huh?
We did. I still like this poem. Forget last week. It's still good.
It is.
Thank you.
You know what I didn't catch last week is the second line of the second stanza, the dancing naked with the devil. There's a form of Wicca called skyclad, which is kind of a naked Wiccan practice. So I liked that second line of the second stanza. I didn't catch it last week.
That's why poetry is always better the second time around.
Yeah, well. So tell me, where did this come from?
Absolutely. So this is one of my older pieces, if you will. It's written a few years ago, also for what the same theme as your contest last week, which was Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. And one of the lines that's in that literature is 100 suspicions don't make a proof.
Right.
And what is most interesting about that literature, or at least that I've always found, is that there's a psychosis to it. He doesn't create, he enacts a horrible crime, an atrocious crime, and he gets away with it for all intents and purposes, except he drives himself mad in the process. And so one of the ways that he kind of reassures himself in that literature is 100 suspicions don't make a proof, as his psychosis kind of devolves. That being said, taking that idea, it really reminded me of the Salem witch trials.
Yep.
We know that from history, the majority of times that people have been claimed as a witch, it's not for anything that's actually happened. It's hysteria. It's people thinking that something's bad, you know. So moles were a sign of being a witch. Anne Boleyn actually was hung, the Tudor, the fourth wife of Henry VIII, third wife of Henry VIII.
I think so.
She was hung with part of her crimes being that she was a witch because of the moles that she had, the beauty marks that she had. So there's always been these ideas of what makes a witch. Sometimes it's that they could swim or that they could float. So women were thrown into lakes to see if they would swim or float to prove their innocence. There was just hysteria, which we know at least some part of it was just social engineering of the Salem witch trials. There's a few other actually older atrocities in history where it talks about the tortures. Again, that's where the witch's bridal, which I think you actually spoke about last week, Monarch. But the witch's bridal was one of the many ways that they would torture these people into giving up names. And we know that that torture was to such an extreme that people were giving, names just to stop the pain and not because there was any semblance of actual guilt. And so it just really reminded me, both in that line that drives this psychosis of the Salem witch trials, where 100 proofs does not, or 100 suspicions does not make a proof make, and yet they found reasons to. So that's where those two kind of linked up for me without making a whole story about Dostoevsky.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So Anne Boleyn was Henry VIII's second wife after Catherine of Aragon. And
there you go. Well, it's one of them, right? There's 8 of them, 6 of them, a lot of them.
If you ever, I think it's still playing, I'm sure it is, but if you ever get to New York City, I highly recommend the musical Six. It is absolutely fantastic. It's just a fantastic musical of the 6 wives of Henry VIII. And it's absolutely stunning. It's like one of the best musicals I've ever seen by far. It's in my top 3. So much fun. But you've never been to Salem, Mass, have you?
I've not. I live over on
the other coast.
Have to do never eat salty worms. I live over on the West Coast, Pacific Northwest. I should know that. So I live near the other Salem. I've not gotten to get over to that side, even when I did live on that side in Florida.
Yeah. Oh, you did time in Florida?
I unfortunately did do time in Florida. I built a house in Florida, and they swore to me that hurricanes don't hit that side of Florida.
Right.
And then Hurricane Matthew made landfall 10 miles from my house. So that's what made me leave, is two hurricanes, and I was done. So
wow.
It was an unfortunate time. It's fine. I'm back home.
That sounds like a horrible promise to make to somebody moving to Florida.
Yeah.
It was. I asked the lady, I said, do I need hurricane shelters? She goes, do you want hurricane shelters? I said, do I need hurricane shelters? She goes, Daytona Beach hasn't been hit by a hurricane in 100 years. And then I got hit by a hurricane. It was foreshadowing at its finest.
Dude, that sounds like... Dude, that totally sounds like There Are No Cats in America from the movie An American Tail. I'm sorry. I'm like, just worst promise ever.
It really was. I was very disappointed. All trust was broken thereafter.
Tim Manzano just made the comment that the one tension worth sitting with is the speaker's absolute certainty of her own innocence is moving, but it also quietly sidesteps the poem's most uncomfortable historical truth, that the accusers also believed the witches were innocent. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking about that made me think about, the Anne Boleyn comparison. Nobody thought she was a witch. They just wanted to kill her so that, or Henry just wanted to kill her so that he can move on to his next wife. So, this is, I think, almost exclusively in history, just a matter of making, calling someone a witch, just to get rid of them because they didn't like them or they were uncomfortable with them or for whatever reason. Yeah.
Social engineering at its finest.
Social engineering. Right.
Yes. Yeah. Well.
Okay. Well, I think we've got.
Do you feel better about yourself now, JoJo?
Well, it's yeah. I mean, I still feel like I have some penance. So Victoria was going to bring some PowerPoints and spreadsheets, and I was gonna, pour over them, while the two of you talked. But it doesn't look like she's got any spreadsheets with her.
Oh. So just so you know, professionally,
yeah,
I make a lot of spreadsheets. You really don't want to make that comment. No.
A lot of what I do is data science, and we use spreadsheets for manipulating these massive data sets. So I feel you.
Kinsmanship, kindred spirits.
There you go.
Spreadsheets are friends. They make life easier.
They do.
They sure save a lot of hand calculating.
They do.
Dude, seriously. Insane.
Well, I think I'm going to pop another link into the LNP chat.
Okay.
But I think what do you want to say about this next poem?
Would you like me to speak on it first or read it first?
Oh, I was thinking Monarch because we only just now clicked the judging button. So
well, I think it's an amazing poem.
Yeah.
However, it is Victoria's poem, and she just read for us, so I will give her the option. Victoria, would you like to read your own poem that
she has to read
won a beautiful gold in this contest, or would you like?
Oh my goodness! I don't think the contest things are posted yet. So if that is,
what?
I trust your words. I will not call you liars. I will not give a proof of pointed finger. But no, thank you.
I didn't get a notification either, Monarch. Did you actually? There is, when you do the judging, there's sort of a final button that you have to press all the way down at the bottom, or something.
You can change your mind. It's okay. I'm a middle child. I'm used to it. Remember?
No.
I'm not changing my mind. It didn't save it. What? Hold on. We'll send it again.
Because I'm just realizing I didn't get the notification.
Yes, we are going to finish. There we go. It's sent. I blame my computer.
It's done?
It's technology. It's supposed to make our life easier, and I've yet to see the proof of that.
Well, there we go. It's official. It's been sent.
Well, thank you so much. And I'd be more than happy to suffer further abuse and read this if you would be okay with that.
Oh, yes, please.
Absolutely.
So this is called Dreams of Destiny. In the beginning, the map was clean. Hands still soft traced the ink like scripture, with sparkling eyes that matched the stars, bright and hungry with dreams, perhaps mistaken for destiny. The sea does not warn you. It simply takes. At first a day, then a week, a month, and year. In the end, it often takes a name or the habit of sleeping peacefully. The stars do not guide. They only watch as the horizon keeps widening until reflections in the water begin to look like a stranger. The compass starts to tremble. Somewhere between longing and obsession, wonder grows heavy with wanting as easy laughter grows more distant with each trade made and each moral crossed. But in the end, the gold doesn't glitter. And somewhere between the storms and the shore, the shimmering eyes of a dreamer dimmed beneath the person they became. For no map can lead you back unchanged. End poem.
Well, Monarch.
I think it's stunning.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me, for letting me know about this contest. It is, it's a well-loved movie actually for myself.
Oh, so
JoJo hasn't seen it.
I haven't seen it. I had to
JoJo.
Yeah,
Monarch, can we shame JoJo now? Can we shame him some more?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I need a bell. Where's the shame bell?
The shame bell. Shall I walk naked through the streets of, what was the city?
We may need that. The city's not available, but the LNP is. I don't know how Phil will feel about that, but
there you go.
We can make it happen.
How about if I'll walk emotionally naked through LNP?
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah.
I will accept that penance.
Yeah, this I haven't seen it, and when Monarch was like, "Oh, let's do Treasure Planet," I was like, "Fine." I've only got like 97 different TV subscriptions. I'll just watch it. And then I looked, and it's like, "Oh, it's on Disney Plus." I'm not doing it. So I have a rule: I don't rent movies. And
JoJo, just get the 1 month free, and then
I already did that once. I did that for Hamilton. And so yeah, my 1 month free is gone. So I didn't see it, but I did read a synopsis of it. And
I bet the synopsis didn't do it any justice.
No, I'm sure. So when we were talking about the poems for this contest, I was I have a daughter, and I am a little sensitive, I guess, to these male dominated societies. And this goes back to was it Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure something or other. I think that this was a
Treasure Island.
And it was a time, it was a place. These stories are dominated by young boys, in this case, accomplishing great things. And it seemed to me to be kind of a period in Disney's time with us where they were having a lot of male roles, and so when I first looked at this, I thought, the first thing I would do is change the boy to a girl, and the second thing I would definitely do is I would turn it dark, and so that's what kind of initially really attracted me to Dreams of Destiny, was the darkness. But I also just really liked, Disney has these Disney-esque stories, with these beautiful happy endings, and they're not exactly realistic. So I liked the darkness, and I liked the realism of Dreams of Destiny. I also like that it's gender neutral, which for me was kind of a something I was kind of looking for, I guess, was to take the boy out of the story. And so I liked where, how you didn't lean into the male character of either the book or the movie. So I really liked that about your poem.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And just for what it's worth, I have a fascination of the darker side of Disney. There's actually a whole bunch of really lots of media on it.
Yep.
But most of the Disney stories that we know are coming from original stories that are far grimmer. And so yeah, I find it fascinating the way that we've sparkled them up a bit.
A bit.
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't going to talk about Ariel turning to sea foam, you know, but
oh, don't get me started on Ariel. My kids watched that one time while I was working in the living room, and I was kind of half paying attention, and I got about halfway through, and I was like, no, this is done. And I threw that VHS tape in the dumpster.
Well, there's some even darker stuff about Ariel and Disney in its own version. I'm sure you've heard about the disgruntled employee. Fun facts. No, you haven't heard about that?
No. Is this going to be like the Wizard of Oz, where someone on the set hung themselves?
There may or may not be a male appendage on some of the coral reef.
Oh.
If you find the right version of it.
Oh, nice.
I heard about that in a college English class, and I swear the entire English class was picking apart Disney films for that kind of paraphernalia, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it because you can't unsee that stuff.
You can't. I actually have the version.
So bad.
Yeah. Oh. It is fascinating, to say the least, of how well things can be ruined by a male appendage. But that's not what today's story is about. So,
this isn't really a thing now, but way back, the department stores would send out these big paper catalogs of all of their stuff. And one night, my aunt, my mom's oldest sister, called up, and she's like, John Michael, get out your new JCPenney's catalog and flip it to page like 276 or something. And I'm like, what? She's like, do it, open it up. And so I flipped it open, and in the men's briefs section, there was a little bit of a male appendage sticking out of the bottom.
Oh, no.
And I was like, Valerie, did you really just call me up to tell me that there's like the tip of a penis sticking out in the JCPenney's catalog? She's like, no, I called to tell your mom. I was like, hey, Mom, the phone's for you. It's your crazy sister.
Oh my goodness.
So not to break up the fun, but I think we've gone way off track here.
Oh, we have.
T. Manzano has left this beautiful comment in the chat.
You want to read it?
Sure. He says, love the nautical conceit that holds together well. Map, compass, sea, horizon, and the sea does not warn you, it simply takes, is the standout line. Cold and perfectly placed. Wide-eyed dreamer grinding down into someone unrecognizable. The stranger in the reflection is the emotional gut punch. Last line feels a little like the poem explaining itself. Well conveyed, wonderfully penned.
Thank you so much, T. Manzano. And if I may, I really, oh no, now he's brought up, they have brought up male appendages themselves. So I'm so sorry. I've derailed the show. That was not my intention. But I do love that they pointed out kind of how I went about the sea, the star, the compass, because if you read at the beginning of those lines, there's actually a small poem embedded in there, which is where that final line kind of ties it all together, that at the end of a journey, all the tools fail us. We only female appendages too. Thanks, JoJo. But at the end of these journeys, tools often will fail us. The things that are supposed to protect us and keep us on the path do little to not to actually make sure that the real treasure, ourselves, our personhood, our identity is protected. So thank you so much for that observation.
Yeah. Tim's very observant and insightful,
Yes.
and I always really like his comments. And he's right that I thought that the line about the sea not warning but just simply taking, I agree. That's to me the standout line in the poem. I liked that. I liked how you you made ambition give a pound of flesh, and I kind of liked that aspect of it. And so after the first couple of stanzas, you just sort of start taking pounds of flesh, and I think any story of ambition needs to have those caveats that they cost you. And this was really the only poem in the contest that sort of exacted a serious cost for the journey. So that's not that's part of the darkness, I guess. But to me, it's also just buyer beware. That there's a real cost here, and nobody ever explained that to me when I was growing up. So I liked it because of the realness of the cost, I guess.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I feel that I think we all have a tale like that.
Absolutely. I think some more than others, maybe, but I think we all at least feel like we've given a lot anyway.
For sure.
So, all in different ways, but I think we all feel it.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. But
yeah, so a lot of mine is actually around parenting. You give up something raising your kids for well, I should speak for me. I gave up some things raising my kids when because I pursued my career maybe a little bit too hard and for too long. I guess I also kind of gave up an important relationship too as a cost for that as well. So I didn't realize beforehand those costs that would be associated with pursuing my career as hard as I did.
Yeah. So I think my favorite line or stanza, I guess, in this is "The stars do not guide, they only watch." And it sort of struck me because it totally fits this poem, but it's the complete opposite of what most people think about when they think about stars. Stars are a compass. Like, that's what astronomers use, and they've used it for thousands and thousands of years. And so I loved it because it's completely contradictory to what most people think about when they think about stars, but still absolutely true. It fits beautifully, and so I love it. I absolutely love that line. It worked really well.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate that resonated with you too, because I wrote another piece recently and that's very similar to that we've glorified the stars. There we have astronomy, astrology. I always get those mixed up. We have zodiacs that are supposed to help explain us. We use them for nautical guidance. I mean, even when you're lost in a forest, there's points that you can look at to know where you're going and how to get there. But in many ways, the stars are just observers. They don't change their patterns to protect us. They don't change our patterns to guide us. They just happen to be a stagnant point.
If you go back and if you watch Apollo 13, they even when things went wrong on Apollo 13, they even used the stars in order to kind of figure out some of the re-entry logistics. So they even helped with So stars don't actually help you navigate. They just sort of give you a relatively fixed position to, so you know where you are, and so then you know what direction to go. But yeah, I mean, they even helped the Apollo 13 astronauts, get back to Earth when things went wrong on that mission. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Actually, when we first moved to Melbourne, Australia, one night we got on the tram, and we'd been there like a couple of weeks living in a hotel, and we finally got an apartment, and I said, let's go out. I want a McDonald's run. And so we jumped on the tram, and we got off the tram. We took it out of town, and got off right in front of a McDonald's. And I remember getting off the tram, and I looked up, and it was about a half moon. And I suddenly realized, the moon from Melbourne, Australia looks really different from like the moon that I grew up with in Northern California. It was like it was angled a little bit weird. And I looked at the moon, and it looked different to me. And I was like, pointing it out to my daughter and my partner. I was like, look at the moon. Doesn't it seem weird to you? And then I realized, that, the stars around it also looked a little bit different. And it was really unsettling. We just sort of stood there and stared up at the moon and the stars. And it felt really weird. Like, just like it just looked weird, like this ungrounded feeling. So I guess that was another kind of a stars as navigators, or stars as geolocators experience that I had. That was it was actually a little bit unsettling. The moon looks different from Australia than it does from Northern California, and so do the stars too.
Oh, that's fascinating. I can see where it makes sense, but I find that absolutely fascinating myself. You remind me of kind of the uncanny valley, except I don't know that applies to the moon. But I actually really appreciate that, and it just thoughts makes me wonder about some of the first explorers using those stars as navigation. What happens if a storm came and they got so thrown off course that they appeared to go into a strange land and a uncanny land? Perhaps that's where some myths came from.
Maybe. All right. Well, I've posted the next link. Monarch, do you want to take this, or do you want me to? This is...
I can take it.
All right, go for it.
This is Close Enough by Walking Travesties. Light rarely arrives dramatically. Instead, it will likely slip across your shoulders while you're laughing at nothing in particular, standing in the living room, forgetting for one full second what it is to be afraid. I hope I get to be there. Not this version of me, but the smaller one. The one still hiding in my rib cage, on skinned knees with shaking hands, mistaking survival for love because it's all we ever knew. I hope I get to see it. A silent observer, just close enough to catch some of the warmth our soul now firmly carries. Just close enough to whisper, we made it. End poem.
Nice read there, Monarch.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
What'd you think of this, you two?
I find this, in so many ways, this really touches me. My children my eldest is about to be 9 in about 2 weeks. My youngest is 7. And we just introduced them to Supernatural. And it was really funny. Literally last night, introduced them to Supernatural. And we asked them, both girls, was that too scary? And my eldest kind of gives me this so thing. Lo and behold, my youngest does come knocking at my bedroom door and sleeps with me the whole night because she's just freaked out by the show. In so many ways, this poem touches that fear, the fear of the dark, It touches the opportunity for growth and for guidance. And for that, I think that it really sticks well with the prompt that they chose, which is, I hope I'm there catching some of the light coming off you that day. To me, it speaks not just about overcoming the fear of the dark of childhood, but it also talks about the way that as we grow as individuals, as we heal as adults, we tend to go back to that child and find ways to comfort them. And so in this, not only is it this expression of growth, it's in the sense of just adulthood and time, it's also this expression of going back and being the comfort, seeing the light, seeing the dawn, because it's always darkest before the dawn, but it's seeing that dawn glimpse the horizon and finding the safety that you wish you'd had back then. So to me, this is a rather beautifully complex piece that touches not just on that personal growth in the sense of the movie, in the sense of us as individuals, but maybe even coming full circle to bring that little us out of the darkness and into something softer and safer.
Yeah. Monarch.
I don't think I could have said it any better, Victoria. I
know,
really
right?
don't.
Yeah. Monarch and I are going to retire.
No.
We're going to bed. You just finish off the show.
Let me go grab my 7-year-old. We'll do great.
Yeah.
Actually, but the way you put that is bringing the children out of the darkness and into the light. I guess I'm still just a child, or maybe it's that I have 4, but Peter Pan, it's the second star to the right and straight on till morning. You go from darkness through the star into morning, and it's just beautiful. So it's just, I love it. I love the metaphor through the whole thing, whether it's you're taking it completely at face value and pulling the emotional trauma or baggage or whatever from childhood to the surface and dealing with that, or the very, I guess, childlike part of it that's just, let me give my younger self a hug and say, hey, you did it. It's beautiful. It's very well done. They did a good job. So
yeah. That second stanza really, when I first read this, that second stanza jumped out at me. The sense of, the living room, being this place where you feel safe and protected, and the living room as, maybe a symbol for the home. It's the room where we do our living, and the sense that, it's easier to do your living from a sense of safety and comfort, which is, I think, what the living room is doing that, right? For one full second, you forget what it's like to be afraid. And then, you open the front door and you walk outside, and you leave that living room behind, and that's where the lack of safety or at least the feeling of a lack of safety and comfort kind of comes in. And so I think I know people, who spend lots of time and money building up their homes, and I think many of them probably spend much of their cost on their living rooms. It's where we come together as a family, watch TV together, maybe play board games or card games, sit, chat. That's where we relax, and we relax there because it is sort of that gives us that sense of safety. And so I thought that second stanza was just superb at just setting, the scene of the whole narrative arc. But I like the I like the quietness of this too. So there's not really there's laughing, but this is other than that, this is a fairly quiet, almost like that sense of transformation kind of arrives quietly. It's not like, doesn't show up in a loud boom. It just sort of unfolds quietly. And so I thought that serene kind of a sense, the atmosphere of this poem did some serious work. And then, the ending is just a fantastic. The idea of like all of our different selves collectively being called we. And the poet does it in like the fourth to the last sentence as well, the last line, because it's all we ever knew. But to kind of come back to, thinking of or collectively referring to all of our different selves as we, I thought was a really nice way of bringing out all of these different essential aspects of us as a whole. And so I thought the ending was really fantastic. Just, we made it, just referring to themselves as we.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
I think we gave this the silver star, the silver medal, huh?
We did.
We did.
Yes, we did. And it absolutely deserved it.
I remember us having a very long conversation about the ordering of the medals, and we settled on the order we did. But I still feel like all of the medal winning poems were, it could have gone any way we wanted. I mean, they all had these incredible different strengths. To me, the strength of this one is just the quietness of it, as opposed to the dark. I liked the ranking we gave. I liked the darker take that exacted cost. But this is, I think, an equally strong but very different piece. So it's really cool that the contest was able to elicit such a variety of responses to the prompts.
I agree.
I would say that's typically the beauty of a really great contest, and I think that's a testament to you guys in that it created beautiful pieces of light and dark and hope and destruction. And just like you said, JoJo, this is such a beautiful piece. I know it gives me goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah.
Just truly stunning.
So just to be clear, I didn't see Treasure Planet. So this contest was absolutely all Monarch who actually did.
So I take that back. It's a beautiful testament, Monarch. My apologies. It's my turn to have the shame bell.
Well, thank you. I'm a little bit of a Disney fangirl over here. I love Disney. Okay, yeah. I like classic Disney. Not a huge fan of all of the new stuff they're doing. It's a little bit weird, but I loved this one.
When they stole Ariel's voice, when they literally took a young woman's voice, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah.
Yep. So
Tim says, forgive my depraved mind, on skinned knees with shaking hands.
Tim, the sexual contest was the last show.
Yeah, you're 2.5 hours late, mate. Oh. Well, shall we move to the next one?
Yeah. Absolutely. I will catch the link and you can read it, sir. It's your turn.
Oh, that's right. All right. Well, this is called Before the Running by Bellatrix is Strange. If I were to disappear, what would I take with me? More importantly, what would I leave behind? What about my grandmother's trunk? The one with trinkets from childhood. First napkin, first toy. I can't take that with me. I can't leave it to rot under my bed either. Maybe I'll feed it to a fire before I leave. Will I find the courage to watch it all burn? The flames licking away at what was supposed to be the beginning? Would burning it all up mark the end? While the fire feeds on the echoes of my innocence, I walk back inside. The house feels too still, too aware. My room waits for me one last time. I drag myself to it. Decorations, used cans, picture frames, dirty laundry all watching me. As if to say, deal with us before you leave. The people that live in my frames still ask questions I will never find answers to. So I suppose I do the only thing I could do. Empty boxes appear, clothes folded for once, neatly. Maybe shame makes me flip the frames face down, my former selves glaring holes into the side of my head as I try my best not to meet their eyes. I tear the pieces of paper into tiny little pieces and blow as I watch them fall and fall. My bed made, sheets changed, trash taken out. I stuffed the boxes under my bed. Friendship bracelets, memory boxes, all of it into a bag for the neighbor's bin. The garbage truck will be here tomorrow and take the remnants of friendships I no longer hold on to. Bare walls, empty shelves, drawers open like wounds. Maybe a ceremonial white sheet over all my furniture. The rug stuffed into the empty closet. Only the duffel bag remains. One pair of clothes, all the cash I have saved up. It'll be enough to start a new life, or at least I will hope so. The house tries to change my mind. Echoes of our shouts in the hallway. You're making a mistake. All the voices tugging at my heart, so I stuff it into my bag with the rest of my things. I don't have much time. I delete emails, lose all the numbers, throw my charger out, leave my phone on the desk, its battery dying by the second. One last peanut butter and jelly won't hurt. I wash the plate, dry it too. Then the tickets. An old town tucked in the dark nooks of the country, the kind of place people don't look for missing persons in. No allure except peace. My heart practically beats out of my chest. The uncertainty of things, my bleak future, all waiting just around the corner. But fortunately, the train doesn't make any unnecessary turns. It forges on ahead, a one-way journey, taking me farther and farther away from the place I once called home. Because that's the thing about homes. You never realize when you leave what once held you, or when you learn that your home is just a house. And the thing about a house, it can be abandoned as easily as it is built. End poem.
Wow.
Ooh,
That hits harder now that I've read it aloud, that hits harder than when I read it quietly.
it does. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that hits harder.
It does. Mm-hmm. I have to say the author's note, I took a moment to Google it because I haven't read that, but they say, loved When the Running Stops so much, I had to write a prequel. Enjoy. And I don't know which prompt they wrote off of, but from Googling when the running stops, it's a memoir of Rosalind Noriega, a registered nurse detailing her life, including her immigration from Trinidad, single motherhood, and a life-threatening brain aneurysm that forced her to confront her faith and resilience. And I have to say, in many ways, this reminds me of Treasure Planet when he is packing everything up to go on his voyage. It reminds me of an immigrant who's having to leave their home for whatever reason. But I think what really resonated with me, and it's just probably personal colloquialisms and the likes that trigger it, is in many ways this reminds me of death. My aunt passed away in August of last year, and my two cousins do not live in Washington. They don't live in the Pacific Northwest. And so they came and they had a duffel bag of a few sets of clothes. And they had to go through this house of memories where my aunt hoarded the napkins from them being kids. And it hoarded, you know, their first Christmas ornaments and family pictures. And there was a really hard reckoning, and there's still a really hard reckoning in my family, because my generation within my family is not interested in the things that my parents were interested in. There's been talks of who's going to take the family china, and I am interested. I'm my aesthetic, which if people look at my All Poetry page, probably see it. I'm a Victorian goth. So there's one set of china in my family that is called the Cape Cod collection by Avon, and it's because it's ruby glass and it's very gothic. Nobody else wants it, so I get all of it, but there's no other china. If that was not in my family, I don't care about china. The only reason I like this one is because it's very specific to what I like and to what my culture, if you will, or the social clique that I'm in really likes. So this really, sorry, hit my desk. This really reminds me of an end of a chapter, which is abandoning those memories. It's abandoning who you were. It reminds me of the ending of the chapter when I left my house. The room that I left, which I have pictures of, is not what my house looks like at all. There used to be a big picture of an ocean on the wall that I used to sleep by. And I'm sure that I would probably feel like some versions of myself would stare holes into me and judge. And perhaps it would be easier to shred those pictures. But this, in so many ways, resonates of that closing of a chapter in so many different relatable ways, not just chasing a dream, not just being forced from your home, but sometimes even just the natural choice that this is the end and something new has to begin. And so it really feels like that closure coming together. It genuinely just gave me goosebumps. Stunning, stunning, heart-wrenching piece.
Yeah. All of that, all of the specificity of the details, I think just accumulate from the beginning to the end. You mentioned the duffel bag and the clothes, and the napkins. I think all of that accumulating detail just almost makes it feel like you're walking through. For example, like when we walked through my grandparents' home after my grandmother died, just like all of those little memories and that, and the whole time, there's nothing you can do to in that case, like change the fact that my grandmother was dead. And so you're just sort of going through cataloging all of these things, and each one is a reminder of a life. I guess for me, like it didn't feel like when we moved to Australia, but what really kind of felt like to me was, when I moved out of the house to go to college, and going through my room for that last time and finding all of those little trinkets and all of those little memory objects, and leaving them behind, and looking forward to, oh well, now I'm all grown up and I don't need these little trinkets. I'm going off to start my new life in college, and then years later, my mom sent me a box with all, like a ton of those trinkets in it. And, I opened the box up and just started like crying, like, oh, maybe those were actually important, my little, all of the coins that I collected when I was traveling. And like a little Willy Wonka chocolate factory kit that I got from cereal box tops growing up. And I had an old brass fire hydrant, fire nozzle, all of these little trinkets from childhood. And you think, oh, I've left them behind because I've moved forward. And then later you find out that, well, you can't really leave those things behind.
Yeah. And then I love that you bring that up too, because you think of all those trinkets and how much they meant to us at the time.
Yeah.
And yet they mean nothing to anybody else. So it feels sacrilegious for anyone else to have them, to send them back out into the world.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because this talks about all of the things that get left behind, right? And you guys have been through it, going through things that got left behind and what that means. And I guess I'm sort of on the opposite end of the spectrum. My little brother's birthday is tomorrow. He died 15 years ago at 3. And so there is nothing left behind. I don't have a favorite toy. I don't have a t-shirt. I don't have anything. I've got some pictures and I've got memories of a child who loved chocolate to no end. And there's nothing left. That's it. And so I guess I'm sort of sitting here going, wouldn't it be nice to have just one momentum? That doesn't exist for me. So this hit me, I guess, in a different way, possibly, or in the same way for a different reason. But it's still one of those things where, yeah, you leave things behind. But I think the things you don't leave have just as much of an impact as the things you do.
That's really beautifully said, Monarch, and thank you for sharing that. I don't think that we often think of, especially in this day and age. I mean, you have 4 littles, I think I heard. JoJo has 2, I have 2. I think that in some ways we've distanced ourselves from the fact that once upon a time, not too long ago, not all children survived childhood. And so really thank you for bringing that perspective, for that vulnerability, because it is a wonderful reminder that oftentimes we're overwhelmed by what we have. But there's so many times that there's opportunities to cherish that. So genuinely, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So T. Manzano started off saying, brutally well read, JoJo. I need a moment. That was astonishingly alarming. I need a moment. There's so much in my head, I can't pinpoint anything. I'm a spinning car. And then he said, I am still saying wow in my head, my mouth voicing no sound. What in the hell without words? Because I have headphones on and my wife and grandchild sleeping nearby. I want to slam something against something. I will try to take tomorrow and comment. It will not be able to happen tonight. It's too important. This right found corners of me that only a couple people reach. Yeah, I agree. This definitely found corners. Wow. Yeah. I guess the idea of wanting to slam something, I guess I did feel a sense of maybe not anger, but just sadness of maybe there's a hint of anger, just for, I hate that the universe is this way. I hate that, this is the human condition. Yeah, so I can see where that could warrant some anger or motivate some anger.
Yeah.
I just found it really deeply saddening. And certainly, you know, it definitely felt, initially I thought it, you know, kind of felt like, you know, maybe cleaning out your mother's house or something, following their death. But it did, so there was a hint of that early on, but by the time I got, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 stanzas into it, it did really feel like it was just somebody leaving home. So, you know, it being in response to an immigrant, maybe moving overseas, you know, that was what it started to feel like. Well, or just somebody leaving home. That's what it started to feel like in the middle. And then it just got kind of nostalgic and weepy, I guess, kind of sad. But you know, if we don't leave, we can never get anywhere. So you know, it does have that sense of balance, between, you know, what we're leaving behind versus, you know, what we might be hoping for in the future.
Yeah.
God. I think Bellatrix is Strange that was a beautiful write. Bellatrix is Strange.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we move on?
Before everyone starts crying on air? Sure.
Yeah, I know, right? All right. Well, I've posted the link.
All right.
Victoria, do you want to take a pass or shall I?
I'd love to. Yeah. This is Psychotic Memories by Free Verse Agate. It comes as a wave of pressure. Then your mind becomes lost, but you don't know what's missing. Something else has replaced it, finding hyper meaning in everything. Every color, every number, all the patterns of the clouds, the specks of dust on your floor. Most people you meet are somebody else, perhaps possessed, a spirit speaking that's not them, an enemy, the other. Your foxhole prayers become desperate, hoping for relief from the brain's war. When you recover your heated head, it's all like a bad dream that you remember all too well. A nightmare that you'll never forget. Little chips of paranoia stick with you for the rest of your days. The trauma, euphoria, memories becoming embarrassing, totally uncalled for, unjustified. Delusions of all sorts conflict with the mundaneness of everyday life. Stress, that is, will happen again, will haunt you for the rest of your days. You will always be on guard for the worst. End poem.
Nicely read there, Victoria. Really nicely read. Monarch, you had some thoughts on this when we were talking it through.
I did. So for those of you who have seen the movie, this very much reminds me of the little robot. Victoria is missing his brain.
Yes.
And so all he's got is these random sparks as loose wires connect. And this reminds me of that. And so I can't imagine this being anything close to comfortable in real life. I'm grateful I haven't experienced this myself, although sometimes I might come close with 4 children. But it did. It reminded me of the little robot in the movie, and part of it was funny, and the other part of it is like, oh my gosh, that's horrifying. I don't ever want to go through that. So this part, it says finding hyper meaning in everything, every color, every number, all the patterns in the clouds, the specks of dust on your floor. I cannot imagine my brain trying to give every speck of dust on the floor a specific meaning. Oh my gosh. That's overwhelming just to think about. So the metaphors he used in this were amazing.
Absolutely.
So
What did you think, Victoria? You saw Treasure Planet, so you've got a better basis
I think Monarch's talking about Ben.
yes,
Which he's a delightful character, but also when you think about the people, because there are people who actually go through things like this, it's kind of horrifying. It's always funny when it's a robot, or what is it, Fernandale, I think, with the bat, the they call me Batty.
oh, I love Batty.
Yes, they call me Batty. Anyways, we always get these kind of quirky characters who've lost their mind. But mental health to me is actually a really, it's something I'm overtly passionate about. So my husband is ex-military. He's got PTSD. He's also bipolar ADHD, bipolar 2 ADHD. And some of the things I will say is watching, for example, like a PTSD episode can be terrifying. Actually, when we were living in Florida, there's Embry-Riddle, the actual Embry-Riddle, kind of I think it's the first campus, because there's a few of them throughout the United States. And he had come out, you could smell the jet fuel, and this was what he had told me. You could smell the jet fuel. There was the heat of Florida, and it just kind of put him back to being overseas, and he was gone. He was not in touch with reality. He actually wandered, and we had to find him. I was pregnant with our eldest daughter at that time, which just made it all that scarier. And seeing it play out is just terrifying. It's terrifying watching the mind break, because we as humans like to think of ourselves impervious. In fact, I'm sure many of us have experienced as a youth, we don't think we can really die. That's where the midlife crisis comes in, is this harsh realization of, oh shit, my peers are dying. I could be next. So watching the mind break the way that life forces it to is terrifying. I also have a friend who's schizophrenic, and watching them use tools to try and see if what they are actually experiencing is real, it's unnerving. And I think that they caught this really, really well. Again, it's kind of a funny character, but they bring it into reality. They bring us into that mind. And I do connect with this personally. I've gone through a lot of therapy. I stopped having kids after 2 because I developed some pretty severe postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, to where calls from the void were happening that were almost crippling for a good while there. And so this ruminates with me, or resonates really with me, when we're talking about like the specks of dust on the floor, because I remember over analyzing things. My youngest was a late term preemie. She went from being 50th percentile to 12th percentile in weight. I was feeding about 6 other babies consistently, and yet my child could not gain weight, and the doctors weren't happy about it. There were, not really threats, but medical concerns of like, if this doesn't happen, we're going to have to. And that just doesn't feel good as a mother who's supposed to be feeding her child. So I feel this in a lot of different ways, the way that just one small chink in your armor can roll, and all of a sudden you're trapped by these little nuances that nobody else notices. And even after it's over, I still remember the calls from the void I had. And it was as much as like, we're looking at a house and there's like some horseshoe game in the back, and all I could see was my children running and impaling themselves on one, very grotesquely, very detailed. I don't have that as much anymore. And yet those images still stick with me. And every once in a while, that chip kind of catches the right light and shows back up. So it's a stunning piece. It took something that's supposed to be comic relief and really brought it to the present, especially given that mental health isn't something we as a society really focused on. For a very long time, we've just kind of shove them into dark corners, if you will. And so
Mhm.
it brings that kind of comical relief into the harsh reality of what it actually means. Really stunning piece.
Yeah. So I haven't seen Treasure Planet, so I don't have that robot context. But I have a health medical kind of background, and so I kind of read it as sort of a really well done description of Robbie and I were just talking about PTSD, but initially I was thinking about it as more like psychosis, I guess, but I think it could be even more general than that. And that the opening, it comes as a wave of pressure, then your mind becomes lost, but you don't know it's missing. Something else just has replaced it. I think that the quietness of how the poem opens to me is really terrifying, because maybe it could be some kind of a big life-changing event that brings on whatever this change is, but I think more often than not, it's maybe a little bit quieter. It's a little bit more subtle, and it's like those first four lines kind of say it's comes on like it comes on quietly, like an invasion of the mind, and you don't even really maybe know that it's happening. I guess the times when I've had to seek treatment for PTSD, it seemed afterwards, it seemed like I didn't even know it was sneaking up on me. And so I thought that opening was really just strong and kind of deeply terrifying, to me anyway. And then the somewhere a little further down, I think it was the second stanza, when they get to the sort of the recovery phase. When you recover your heated head, it's all like a bad dream that you remember too well. We read a poem a couple of weeks ago on one of the shows where they were expressing a similar sentiment that after an injury of this sort, it kind of undermines your certainty of your physiology, of your health, of your ability to stay well moving forward. It's and I think that section is where it kind of screamed out to me PTSD, I guess. But I think a lot of our injuries in life are that way. They have echoes, that these things that echo into the future, even after some amount of recovery, and they really affect your quality of life, because you're like, oh, it came on slowly and subtly, and I didn't even know it was happening until it had already happened, and oh, now I'm better, but I also have this new information that it could come back. It could come back silently, and I think that has these long-term kind of devastating a long-term devastating effect on the way that you see yourself and the way that you see kind of your future. So I thought that those three lines, I thought, were another really, really strong part of this poem.
I love that, especially what you said. Not that I love it, but I think it was a really poignant point to say that, that it can come back, because I think that that's exactly part of what that second half of the poem captures.
Yeah.
Is that kind of unknowing if it will come back, or when it will come back, or how it will come back. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and then the next to the last line talks about being haunted by it, and I think that's kind of how it probably feels, well, like, you know, for me, I went through a really bad PTSD during the first year of COVID. I broke my leg, and you know, and I was living alone, and I was pretty sure I was going to lose my leg, and it you know, it was really, really bad. And plus it was 112 days of serious lockdown, and you know, by the end of it, I was just I was, you know, just emotionally and mentally, and just complete toast. I mean, you know, and it afterwards, it for several years, and maybe even still now, it does feel like it was a haunting experience, and it just kind of follows you around later. So I liked that sense of it haunting you for the rest of your days, and always being on guard for the worst.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Well, thank you both for sharing much more insightful comments, having seen the robot, having seen Treasure Planet.
Yours were insightful too. Don't knock yourself, JoJo.
I'm just going to beat myself
bringing in
up.
a funny robot. I don't have a particular experience with the mental health conversation, not personal experience. Like, I've heard about it, but I don't have experience with it specifically. So happy to bring the comedic relief when it's needed.
I was just thinking, you know, do large language models, do you think, are they haunted by their hallucinations? And
that's a nice rumination. I do wonder. I know we are starting to implement some AI usage, and we always talk about the perils of treating it like anything other than an unpaid intern, because it does hallucinate. So that would be an interesting rumination.
Yeah, I was just reading a study, well, just sort of a summary of a study that this young woman researcher at Stanford did, about how you know, LLMs are they're kind of configured and to some extent trained to be sycophants, and so this was a study about people making life decisions based upon like ChatGPT and you know, other LLMs, and you know, the LLMs tell you what they think you want to hear to some extent. You know, they're trying to be personable and supportive and so forth, but you know, some of the study was based upon, or was centered around people breaking up with their boyfriends or girlfriends, and
oh my gosh,
you know, ChatGPT, or well, I think she looked at like 8 different LLMs, and you know, they're sort of set up to tell you, yeah, go for it, you know, you've got this, you know, like and you know, and the user's not knowing, you know, not really understanding that they're kind of built that way. So they don't know how to properly kind of, you know, question and push back. And anyway, I just was thinking about, you know, like, could they actually end up, you know, eventually being haunted by some of their hallucinations? My guess is no. All right.
It's a good question, though. It's a good question, but oh gosh, the horror. See, I'm glad. You know, I don't know. I get the feeling that I'm probably close to Monarch's age, or we're in similar age brackets. Maybe JoJo, you're a little bit older. But like, at least when we were dealing with the birth of the internet, we didn't have to worry about Google telling us, even ask Jeeves to tell us to like break up with our significant others. But the struggles that the new generation has. Exciting times.
It's really sad. It's really sad what they have to deal with.
All right. So I just
feel bad for the.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I said I feel bad for the new generation who will never see milk at less than $1 a gallon.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, so we have this really great local milk production and delivery service that brings, you know, the glass bottled milk to your house like once or twice a week, and we subscribe to it. It's this beautiful source of local and fresh milk. But I was thinking that, you know, like I don't think my kids have ever seen my kids, Victoria, my kids are, you know, kind of 30-ish. My daughter's 30, my son's about to turn 29. So yeah, I'm a little older, I think, than the two of you, but you know, I'm old enough to remember the, you know, the glass bottle milk delivery to the house growing up. And I was just thinking that, you know, like I'm not sure my kids have ever seen milk in a glass bottle.
No.
Much less $1 a gallon. I think ours is more like $6 or $8 a gallon. But you know, it's local and fresh, and they deliver it to the house, and you know,
Oh, that's awesome.
but all right,
Shall we move on?
Move to the next? I've posted today, I'll Go Sailing by Way Down Upon Joy. And I think it's up. I think you're up next, Monarch.
I believe that I am. All right. Today I'll Go Sailing by Way Down Upon Joy. Today I'll go sailing. I'll forego the worldly news detailing onshore wars or relating crimes while negating compassion. I'll refashion my rudder and trim my sails and head out to sea where the whales are conversing in language I understand. Today I'll go sailing. I'll ignore the wailing of misfortune's reverie or the too free ignorance of those that could breathe life. Life that rises at dawn and shadows the day, or waits in the silence for predisposition of dream recognition, to pave one's way clear with an incentive scheme. Today I'll go sailing. I'll fill my lungs with the breath of the gods and leave at odds those that don't agree. For what is the good of bad company or folks that just wander bereft? I'll exit stage left, for my part's been said, and today I'm ready to sail instead. I'll seek, so to speak, the current transparent and hear the voices sublime. My transcriber will trail as I sail through time, then turn a blind eye to what lingers behind. I've made up my mind. Today I'll go sailing. End poem.
It's a really beautiful piece, right?
Oh, yes.
It is.
So I have 3 brothers, and we were all Boy Scouts, and so, you know, we would go to summer camp, and at summer camp, you know, that's where we learned to sail. And so we went to this camp in Northern California on this dammed this river that was dammed, and that just the peacefulness of Way Down Upon Joy's piece just reminded me of those beautiful, warm, sunny summers at Boy Scout camp, sailing and learning to sail. And then, you know, once you kind of learn the basics, it's really kind of a beautifully pleasant way to spend an afternoon. And I just got that sense of peace from Joy, from Way Down Upon Joy's poem, that I think it's really just gorgeous.
Absolutely. I appreciate too that you've had that experience. I grew up in Washington, not on the Sound, on the other side of Washington, the desert that nobody knows about.
Yep.
But I did actually start sailing when I was in my teens on Lake Coeur d'Alene in Idaho. And then in my later teens, just because I was interested in sailing, my dad, for a family vacation, rented a 42-foot Catalina And we went as a family sailing on the Sound, which, fun fact, there are pirates in the Sound. That was something I was not quite prepared for. But we ran into them and we were told to stay away. That being said, this to me resonates in a lot of ways the same way camping does for me. I personally am not too fond of the sun. It's why I live on the now rainy side of Washington, because we have very few sunny days. But what I really love about both sailing and both camping is that you get to a point where you don't have access to the internet. You don't have access to be able to just pull your boat over and go to Walmart. You don't have that availability. You get to the right spots and you are, in fact, alone with nature, with the world as it is meant to be, if you will, depending on your views and what you like about it. But I really love this because I do think that sometimes we forget that we've built these buildings and we've built this society. But once upon a time, we lived on the earth. We lived in the earth. And I think that there's something reckoning about that. And so to me, this is that reminder that sometimes those journeys are healing in and of themselves. It allows us to get away from people who want to be offended. It allows us to get away from the inundation of media and the quick media, not even really like good media. And instead it lets us get back to nature, to breathe in what we are supposed to be, to return to that rhythm that I think is healing. And it's such a simple decision. Today I'll go sailing.
Yeah, it's not a hard decision to make. Once you've done it, you sort of understand what's so wonderful about it. It's not a hard decision to make.
Okay, maybe a little bit hard if you're like me, and not that I don't know how to swim. I would rather be in water where my feet touch the bottom. So going sailing is not on my bucket list. I appreciate the poem, but going sailing is not on the to-do list.
Oh my gosh. I don't mean to derail, but my husband also is definitely afraid of deep waters. He can swim. He's afraid of them. And so back in like 2000, I want to say 2018, there was a whole story about an orca in the Sound dragging a sailboat through it.
I remember that.
We're on the other side. At this time, we're on the other side of Washington at my family's estate. And I was like, do you want to go swimming? And he goes, did you not see the news story about the orca? And I was like, what's it going to do? We're going to an indoor swimming pool. There's no orcas in there. And he's like, still not going. I was like, oh, you're such a wimp. Big, strong military man, afraid of an indoor pool. So I feel you. I feel you, Monarch. At least through my husband vicariously, I feel you.
There's definitely a difference between like a swimming pool and the ocean. I know it. I know there is, because I actually really don't like swimming pools anymore. I only like swimming in the ocean. But there is something deeply unsettling about not being able to see, what's below you in the water.
Forget not being able to see what's below you in the water, JoJo. I don't want to know what kind of microscopic bacteria is living in the ocean that I don't know what it's doing to my body. Like,
you're more likely to get that in a swimming pool than the ocean.
Yeah.
Way more. The salt in the ocean kills most bacteria.
And it moves it, which makes it harder for some of these things to grow and stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I grew up swimming in rivers and lakes and the ocean, and to this day it is one of my favorite places to swim.
I guess when I was young, I traveled a lot with my grandparents, and the first big trip we took was to the South Pacific, and I was, like gone, like all day gone. I mean, like when we were in Bora Bora, I would walk down the back steps of our bungalow into the water, and I'd be gone for like 8 hours. And, I'd have like my snorkel and my mask and my fins, and I would just be literally swimming out into the ocean. And later, actually, I was telling Shamala this a few weeks ago that I went body surfing once in Tahiti and I drowned and got washed up on
What?
shore and just somehow kind of came to sometime later. But, you know, and she's like, well, I hope you learned a lesson. I was like, yeah, I learned my lesson not to pass out, you know, like, she's like, what, you went back in? I was like, yeah, I spent, you know, the entire rest of the day body surfing. And, I mean, swimming in the ocean was just kind of, I mean, I'm a Pisces Aries cusp, and you know, the Pisces in me is definitely an ocean swimming boy. So I love it. But like my daughter, when we moved to Melbourne, we would go to the beach, and she would go in up to her ankles, I think. And my partner at the time, she doesn't really swim, and so she would go up to her knees, but you know, but I'd be, you know, swimming way out into the bay. And unfortunately, you can't, it's hard to swim in, you know, on the northwestern coast, you know, basically from Santa Cruz north, it's kind of too cold.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I don't
polar bear dives are perfectly normal up here. Don't you judge my people.
I know. They do that here in Connecticut too, in the frozen over lakes in the winter. And you know, I understand it, I get it, but you know, you wouldn't choose to go swimming in that. You might do a polar bear plunge, but I mean, swimming in it is it's pretty dangerous.
I would not even do a polar bear plunge. Nope. Nope.
I
this far north.
Swim in a glacial river where the hottest it gets is about 38 degrees Fahrenheit. So, but I take those, you know, ice plunges pretty seriously. So,
oh God. Well, they here in Connecticut, they do them, I think, for fundraisers. They often do them for fundraisers, and so you'll see people like running for political office doing it, as you know, because it's hard, and you know, it's for a good cause and all of that. But you know, my dad grew up in Detroit, and you know, I've walked out on, you know, the frozen Great Lakes. My grandfather used to ice fish, and you know, the first time I stuck my hand through an ice fishing hole into the water, I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Nope.
It is an acquired, I want to say taste, but
yeah,
not the right haptic sense.
Right. All right. Shall we get to the next poem?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
All right. And I will take this. This is called Unrequited Love by Suri Das. Eyes full of tears, looking at the sky with fear. Black cloud gazed over his head. Suddenly, a drop of water fell over his forehead. A splash of thunder fall on that boulder. No one present to pat on his shoulder. Phone rang, message popped up. No answer came. Something was murmured. All his hopes were melted. He looked down at the pale roses, thought of his undone work. Then he took a deep breath to get relief. Abruptly, a picture thrashed back into his head. All his energy were drained. A gush of wind hammered him, they say, which turned him into gray and gray and gray. End poem.
Oh, wow.
So let me just start off by saying Suri Das lives in northern India, and what I like about this poem is the bravery of writing poetry in a foreign language, which I have tried to do utterly unsuccessfully in German, Spanish, Chinese, and so what I like about this piece is just how well done it is, despite presumably, almost certainly being written in English as a second language, and so there's a couple of grammatical mistakes in here, and I'll reach out to Suri and let him know that he can always, like, ask me for some editing advice. He's a great guy. We've had a long conversation. He's been really sweet. And I thought this was a really sweet poem. It's I think he submitted it to the contest because he's new to AP and to LNP, and I was like, yeah, just write, and like, find contests and just write, because that's a good way to kind of get used to the group and how the group works and so forth. And so he immediately penned this and submitted it, and so I was really happy to see how quickly he jumped on that suggestion. And I think this is maybe a little bit adjacent to the prompt, but I think it does show maybe the consequences maybe of going for it, trying to set your own course with in this case love, and then being left afterwards to sort of sit in the outcome. So I thought this was a really pretty piece.
Fully agree. To me, this was if sorry, Monarch, I just kind of jumped in. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead.
To me, this is just a really heartbreaking piece,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that a lot of times unrequited love, we see it kind of in the woe is me, but this doesn't really read as a victim. To me, this really reads as a resignation.
Mm.
So it's not just, someone pining. It's not just the weight of that, again, unrequited love. It's not returned love. Instead, it feels like death. And I actually really like too, like, especially the ending line, which turned him into gray and gray and gray. I don't know if that's because he wrote it in a different language, but anytime I see gray written in this specific manner, I think of Gray's Anatomy, which is a medical book, which is almost as if he had resigned to be here, but essentially his desires, his hopes, his dreams have gone away. So now he's just this physical body. He's just this anatomy that is stuck here, kind of ashened and forgotten about, and not really worth the fulfillment and joy of life, which again is also reciprocated throughout the rest of the poem, of it just kind of being dark and dreary. Nature is feeling the pain. The flower has drooped. The choice was not made of them, and so they are left with naught but a hollow shell. It really is a stunning piece.
It really is. I acknowledge it's not about getting hit by lightning, but that's sort of what it felt like to me. He's looking at the sky and you get this thunder on a boulder, and the fact that it says a splash of thunder fall on that boulder, like, this boulder is close enough to him that he can see it, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so the whole thing feels like he got struck by lightning and was turned into ash, and that's emotionally horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that's, like I said, I acknowledge that's not what this is about, but that's how it felt to me. Is he was emotionally just turned to ashes and blew away, essentially. So, but
yeah, I think that's I think that's sort of intentional,
but it was, which is a beautiful metaphor for unrequited love. It really is. It's like, put all your energy into this, and then to have it blown away or passed over or not returned is devastating. At least it can be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I thought this was a gorgeously penned piece. So and as Robbie said, setting your own course in love, at least, even if it doesn't work out, it was your journey as opposed to letting yourself be tossed exclusively by the whims of fate. So I get that sense too. It is I think it is sort of resignation, but it's not like an angry kind of a response. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I tried, and there's value in that trying, even if it doesn't work
Yeah.
out. So there's some sadness there, but it's not like an anger sadness. It's
Yeah.
sadness at the way the universe works, I guess.
Mhm.
So Suri, this is a really great poem, and I'm so glad that you're here with us in LNP and writing and figuring out. I was explaining. We run the contest, and then we use the contest entries as poems that we for the podcast, and so it's trying to explain the process. And I was like, just like find a contest and write to it. And so he found yours, Monarch, and immediately submitted a poem to it. So I felt like that was a really nice little interaction that led to a new member jumping in.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad that he did submit a poem.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful piece. You did a great job.
All right,
So,
last one up.
yes.
I think it's Victoria's turn.
I am here for it.
If I recall, this is a bit of a long one. So, oh no, it's not. No, it's not.
Were you saying I'm long-winded? Is that what you're referencing there?
JoJo, you're supposed to be trying to dig yourself out of the hole, not make it bigger.
No, I think there was another poem that we didn't get permission to use. I think that must have been it was fairly long. But anyway.
Yeah.
No. All right. You're up, Victoria. This is called The Way of Winning.
My Way of Winning by Jackson D. Gargar Jr. The loss today doesn't count me a failure. Another day still calls for a bright and beautiful future. Such a generosity, a daily hope by nature. May not be the 001 or 001, but I'm not yet out of the race. I stay unbreakable despite the daily trauma that I face. The statement, I give up, is a crime in my place. It takes only a single shot to reach the light, but 100 to get close through an endless might. In every lost, I learn to fight. May not be perfect, but will one day get things right. A single step always starts with falling. The bigger wins always start with losing. And every battle needs endless fighting. End poem.
Nicely read there, Victoria. And the tags at the bottom are hope and peace and win and joy and rhyme. And I think all of those are clearly present. What do you think, Monarch?
I think it's a nice motivational piece.
Right?
It's I think the whole premise of this is you might not be there yet, but keep going. And I think it's great. And they did a great job of portraying that. So
yeah, I really like the rhyme in this too.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I find rhyming poetry hard, and the rhyming here is strong. And I also like this is a technique that's used quite a bit in poetry, where you kind of change things up at some point. And so that third stanza with the four lines instead of three, I like that. It introduces a little bit of a change in the pace. So the craft work here is strong. And so I also really appreciated that as well. What'd you think, Victoria?
This really sticks with me in so many ways. We talked about spreadsheets today,
Yep.
and finding your love of that.
Yeah.
So professionally, I'm a CPA.
Uh-huh.
And if you've never looked into the CPA exam, it is 4 sections. They've changed it actually as of 2025, but historically it was 4 sections. FAR, which is financial accounting and reporting, BEC, which is business environments and concepts, regulation, which is basically business law and taxation, and then auditing. And the highest scoring exam, or the highest pass rate of all those exams, was regulation, because you have people who are like me, who are dually licensed as CPAs and EAs, who've spent a career learning the tax code and taxation. And we would come in and we would just pass that exam. In fact, for that exam, I studied less than 2 hours for a 4.5-hour exam, and I passed with a 98%, with the highest score being a 99. So they only give you 99 points. I got 90.
Oh, what a loser! You got a 98 out of.
No. They asked me about. I do public accounting. I do corporate accounting. And they asked me about this stupid, like, circular 230, or not circular 230. They asked me about like corporate stuff, which is like companies that make $500 million. And I was like, my biggest client barely makes $500 million. Like, leave me alone. This is not my forte. So yes, I'm a loser. I got at least one question wrong. If they were jerks. So, but the rest of the exams, regulation, even as of 2026, has a 66% pass rate. Auditing has a 47% pass rate. FAR has a 43% pass rate.
Oh.
BEC is no longer around. So the lowest one of the new replacements is 41%. I had to, because I got in my own head, I passed all of the sections without any issue except for FAR. And I got in my head so bad I had to take that stupid exam 4 times. Which sucks, because there's 4.5 hours every single freaking time, and I had to study for it too, while working a full-time job with kids and a husband. This poem reminds me of that in so many ways. My father, after I passed, said the biggest thing that he was proud of me for is that he thinks that not only am I a better CPA than he ever was, he's not a CPA, but in his profession, that I'm a better CPA than he is, just because of my sheer amount of passion. I truly, genuinely love what I do. I find it intriguing and amazing, which probably most people don't feel about taxes. But not only that, I'm actually far more resilient than he ever could be, because he doesn't think that he could sit through the same exam over and over and over and keep it going. And you have to understand, you have to pass it with a 75, and I got a 73, 73, and 74 the first 3 times that I failed it. So I literally missed it by 1 question each time. And so he doesn't think that he'd be able to do that. And my dad, I find, is just he's a genius in my book. He went to Stanford on Florida scholarship. He has an eidetic memory. He is just an intriguing, intelligent individual that I'm a daddy's girl. I highly look up to. But the fact that my father finds that I'm probably better professionally than he ever was, and that I'm far more resilient than him, was one of the greatest things he could say. This poem speaks of resilience. It speaks of keeping trying. They often say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. That's not the same as this, as choosing to take each day new, choosing to try again, choosing, even when it's hard, even when it sucks, to just keep fighting, no matter how tired you are. There's a positivity there and resilience there that I don't know that society has as much as they once did, just because we're the have it your way society right now. But I think that this is a beautiful testament to resilience and to the choice to keep showing up.
Yo, we should just really give her the show.
No, no. You guys are amazing. This was amazing. Your comments, your contest, the poetry. You guys are just such a delight to listen to. And thank you for letting me intrude upon it.
Well,
So
we're glad to have you.
Yeah, I mean, this has been fantastic. I was going to say that I'm a Rilke fan, and one of his poems was called "De Schauende," the man watching, and there's this great quote in it: "Sein Wachstum ist der tief bestiegte von immer Großen zu sein." And the common translation of that is, the purpose of life is to be defeated by greater and greater things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this poem just, that Rilke's quote could have been a prompt for this poem. It's that it gives me that sense of like, it's not just my way of winning, it's like my way of living, and like that's my purpose in life, is to, always keep going and keep trying, and over time just being, always just being defeated by greater things. So I liked this poem because it kind of reminded me of that beautiful idea that Rilke penned 100 and something years ago.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Also, when I took the graduate record exam for grad school, Victoria, I got 800 out of 800 on the math, but
yes.
there's an analytical, which is like, oh, you've got these 7 people and they need to go in different offices, and the offices are arranged like this, and Frank, Fred smokes, and Jane is on the phone a lot, and Carol likes it quiet, and you have to, this analytical section. I got 760 on it, so that meant I missed probably like 2 or 3. And
oh no.
And I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. I mean, 760 is fantastic, and
yeah.
But what really pissed me off was I placed in like the 47th percentile for English.
Oh no.
So my mate Paul was like, don't worry about it. You're going into math, nobody cares about English. And I was like, oh no, I've already signed up to take it again, because I'm not going to have like 47th percentile on English. I'm like, I don't know what happened, because when I took it again, I ended up at like 76th percentile or something, which is about as far as I can go.
I have to say, I love that you got a 47th percentile and then a 76th as you write and comment upon poetry, my friend.
Right. I know. So I just was like, I don't care about the analytical. I mean, that just means I was, out to lunch for a few minutes and made a mistake or two. But the English, I was like, I don't know what happened there. I mean,
that's crazy.
Overconfidence. That's what I'm going to guess.
I don't know. I mean, if it was overconfidence, I might have missed, but I might have gotten like a 70 or something. But I mean, this was like, did I have a stroke in the middle of that exam and I didn't know it? And at the time, like, most of my friends were international students, and they were all applying to grad school, and they were studying word lists for years, and they were getting because they were international students, they had to do really, really well, and they were all getting close to 800s on the English.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, even my 76 made me embarrassed, but I mean, like. I'm a mathematician, I can explain it that way. But boy, that verbal score was, I mean, I had to take it again. I wasn't going to let that stand. So
that's fair.
So fair. I can understand, like missing one on the CPA exams. I think I would probably get like 12 out of 99 on the CPA exam. I mean, way over my head and way beyond my ability to deal with it. But
well, you've both far surpassed me. I've barely got an associate's degree. The best I can claim is a 91 on the ASVAB.
That's good. I don't think I've ever taken ASVAB, so I probably would fail that.
Wow. 91. That must place you in really like way up there, right?
Yeah, it means I can do almost any job I want.
Yeah.
Do you
Wow.
want a job? I'm looking for staff.
To do what?
Wait,
CPA?
Yeah, I'm a partner at a CPA firm. You can come do taxes. It's all analytics. It'll
can
be
I
fine.
can I do it from Alaska, or do I have to move?
Well, I mean, I do have staff in 6 different states, so technically, yeah.
I will message you later. I'm looking
Sounds
for
like
something
you
I
two
can
should
do
talk,
around the crazy of my kids.
I mean, yeah, do it. I'd love to talk.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan. That's okay. We need to talk about 2 weeks from now anyway. Speaking of, next week is Books and Bards, War and Peace. It's going to be amazing. If you're on All Poetry, we still have openings for that.
And if you haven't read War and Peace, you better start now because it's long.
And it's amazing. If you haven't read it and you don't have time, don't worry about it. We have some amazing prompts. But that should be a really good show. And the week after that is another Movies That Move Us, which will be on What Dreams May Come.
Oh,
that's
Robin
film.
Williams.
So good. So good.
And just visually beautiful, stunning. Just beautiful.
But it has been a joy and a pleasure this evening.
It has.
But I think that's a wrap. I think that's it.
I think so too. Victoria, so many thanks for joining us. It was absolutely lovely having you, and thank you for the for all of the readings and analyses.
Oh, truly
Absolutely.
my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. You guys are truly amazing.
All right, Victoria, Monarch, JoJo's out.
JoJo? Later. Have a good night, everyone.